Good morning. My name is Lisa Raju Kessler, and I am here in Scarborough, Maine today. Just got back up north here a few days ago, and it's quite a bit chillier here than it was when I was in Arkansas. But today the sun is shining, and it's going to be a bit cool, but will probably be a really beautiful day. So for our guided meditation this morning, I've been thinking about emotions and how they can kind of really control our lives, and some of the things we can do about that. So, I did have a little trouble getting online today, so, that can leave me a bit flustered when I start a few minutes late. So, that's one of the many examples of how emotions can sort of overtake us. So the title of my practice, though, today is, I titled it, Why Meditate? And so, meditation can help us a lot with our emotions, and how our emotions can really kind of take over our lives. So first, I'd just like to say that, if you're having extreme difficulties with anxiety or depression or something like that, meditation is not a substitute for mental health treatment. Although more and more mental health practitioners are finding that helping their clients with meditation, as a supplement to the mental health treatment, has turned out to be pretty helpful for many people. So I'm just going to put that out there again, not as a substitute for other types of medical or mental health treatment, but simply as something that can supplement, that's something you can do in addition that may be helpful to you. So to delve into that a little bit, I try to think about a situation that may end up with me really getting hijacked, so to speak, by my emotions. Well, of course, this has been another week of some intense anxieties and feelings for me, and very possibly you've been experiencing similar things. We've had these Supreme Court hearings, well, I guess not hearings, not sure the word they use, but interviewing the potential candidate for the Supreme Court that President Biden has chosen. We continue to see these extreme weather situations with all the tornadoes and damage, and how that is, well, I believe, very much a symptom of the climate crisis that we are in right now. Of course, the war in Ukraine continues, and such a sad situation as we watch so many people suffering as they attempt to fight back, or as they try to flee their own country. So with all these things happening, well, brings up a lot of emotions that are not very pleasant. So how do we deal with those things? How does meditation specifically help us to deal with many of these emotions? So we can sit once a week in a guided meditation with someone facilitating that, such as this situation, and that can be very helpful. But I like to think of this as just the practice that we do, a sort of training, so that when we find ourselves in a a state that's very difficult to handle, this may be one of the tools that we have to help us get through that. So kind of compare it to, maybe you're planning to run a 10K in a few months. And, you could just think about it, and then the day of the race, get out there and just see what happens. Perhaps a more practical approach, though, would be to think, okay, well, if I'm going to run a 10K in a few months, what do I need to do on a daily basis to prepare for that? Well, that could include, if you're not running now, maybe try running a half a mile and see what that's like for you. Or maybe just a swift walk to start with to see what kind of condition your body's in. You may start doing some stretches. You may start, I don't know, even reading some articles about what to expect when you run the 10K. So you may have something that you're going to practice every day as you train for that 10K, so that, maybe you're not trying to be the one to come in first place, but you don't want to injure yourself, and you might even have a trip to the doctor to consult with the doctor to see if it's a good idea for you physically to even plan to do that. So, to have your best performance and have the least likelihood of injuring yourself, you're going to do many things to prepare. So, having a weekly meditation like this can help you prepare for situations, very emotional situations in your life. And I'd like to suggest that if you start a daily practice, that will help even more for you to prepare. Now, you could start off with just 10 minutes a day. Anything that works for you, that you can fit into your schedule, that you feel comfortable with. And as you practice daily, then you start to build a habit, and you start to build up your skills, so that when a situation arises that's very difficult for you, you can then fall back on those skills that you have learned through your meditations. So as we sit in meditation, we learn how to sort of go internally, how to place our attention on those things going on inside of our body, to notice our thoughts, to notice how they rise and fall, and to notice how when certain thoughts arise, certain emotions tend to arise too. And we start to learn that all of these things are impermanent, that they do come and go. And if we're able to sit with them, perhaps learn to let go, to let them pass on, we notice that none of these things last forever. So then, when we find ourselves in a situation, well, let's just say that, what would be an example? Maybe you're at a grocery store and it's a lot more crowded than you were expecting, and there's a person in line in front of you who's having a lot of questions or using a lot of coupons, or things are going on that you start to feel frustration about. Maybe you were kind of in a hurry, so you thought that you could get out quickly, and now you're going to be late for something else you were planning to do afterwards. So you feel these emotions rising in your body, and you might even lash out. You might say something unkind to that person in front of you, or even yell, or perhaps you just throw down your groceries and you stomp out of the grocery store. So none of those things are helpful. None of those things are going to solve the situation for you. But if you've been practicing meditation, you may find that in that situation, rather than reacting, you have the ability to just bring yourself into the present moment, bring your attention inside your body. Notice how your body is reacting. Notice the thoughts as they arise. And just focus on your breath for a moment or two, bringing space between the thought that arises and the emotion that attaches to that. And then, as the emotion arises, which I'm not saying it won't, it may still arise, but as that emotion arises, you've been in training on how to deal with that emotion. You notice it arising. You have a little space in between, like I said, the thought and the emotion. And so perhaps you can sit with that emotion and not react to it, because you know it will come and it will go. And that reaction may not be helpful and may even be something you later regret. So with that said, I'd just like for you to consider getting into a comfortable position if you're not already. I'm sitting on a cushion on the floor. My back is straight and strong. I like to roll my shoulders once or twice and then just allow them to completely drop. So pretty much the only muscles I'm really using right now are those in my back, those that allow my back to be straight and strong. I can completely relax my abdomen. I can open my heart to whatever arises. My arms are relaxed. The hands, well, you can do different things with your hands. Many people like to just rest them on top of their upper legs. I like to place my hands in the cosmic mudra and then place that right below the belly button against my abdomen. I notice if my jaws are relaxed. Check my shoulders one more time. Notice if the legs are completely relaxed. I have my legs crossed in front of me. You may be sitting in a chair. If so, consider placing your feet flat on the ground in front of you. And just notice your body connecting to the earth below you. As we just bring our attention to our breath, not doing anything special with the breath, just noticing how, without really much effort, or at least conscious effort on our part, the breath just enters our body, breathing through the nose, if that's possible, and then just releasing that breath, allowing the breath again to just exit as the next breath automatically enters. Your eyes can be open or closed. For many people, it's helpful to keep the eyes open so that they don't go into too much of a daydreaming sort of state, but not really looking at anything. Just have a soft gaze in front of you as you just breathe in and out, in and out. And I like to compare my mind to a glass of water that has some sand in the bottom of it. And I know that if I stir up that water, the sand will rise up and mix in with the water, and the water becomes murky. But if I just leave it be, not really doing anything, just allowing the sand to sink to the bottom of the glass, and the water becomes clear. So just allowing our mind to settle in, letting thoughts come and go without attaching emotion. Our mind becomes clear. And we continue just sitting, just being, just breathing, staying in the moment, noticing perhaps that during our meditation we were swept away by our thoughts or emotions. Well, that's okay. The practice is just coming back to the present moment, coming back to the breath. And so as our meditation, our time together this morning comes to a close, I'd like to just read a really short little quote. And I need to pull this up on my phone, find it again. So this is from Alan Watts, and Alan Watts is no longer alive, but he was a very influential author, influential in Western Buddhism, and is pretty well known. So he just says the meaning of life is just to be alive. And the post that I'm looking at here on Facebook says the meaning of life is just to be alive. It is so plain and so obvious and so simple, and yet everybody rushes around in a great panic as if it were necessary to achieve something beyond themselves. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'd like to dedicate the merit of our time together this morning to just being, to being alive, to allow ourselves to enjoy our lives. without worrying about all these accomplishments that we think we're supposed to make. So, I'm getting ready to get outside. It's still a bit chilly, but like I said, the sun's shining. I'm gonna go hike on a trail today that I've never been on before, so that'll be kind of fun. And, while you're out there, appreciate nature, Mother Earth, and maybe even hug a tree. Thank you.